The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's solar system without warning. It was 3 times larger than anything humans had ever built, its dark metal surface covered in strange symbols that seemed to move when looked at directly. The ship stopped, near Jupiter, and sent a message that made every radio and communication device on Earth crackle to life. Admiral Park Jin-ho was drinking coffee in his office aboard the space station Seoul's Pride when the transmission began. He was a tall man, with gray hair and calm eyes who had spent 30 years preparing for this exact moment. The alien voice that filled his command center spoke perfect English, though it sounded cold and emotionless. "Primitive species of the 3rd planet," the voice announced. "I am Admiral Veltharion of the Catherian Galactic Empire. We have observed your world and found it suitable for integration into our domain. You have 72 Earth hours to surrender completely. Disable all military vessels. Prepare your leaders for transport to our ships. Resistance will result in the complete destruction of your species." The transmission ended with a sound like breaking glass. Admiral Park Jin-ho set down his coffee cup and looked around his command center. Captain Lee Min-jae stood at the tactical station, her face pale but determined. Commander Kim Soo-young worked at the science station, her fingers flying over holographic displays. Both women had trained for this day their entire careers. "Sir," Captain Lee Min-jae said quietly, "long-range sensors showed 12 more ships arriving at the edge of our system. All of them are larger than the first one." Admiral Park Jin-ho nodded slowly. For 50 years, Earth had been preparing for first contact with alien life. But these preparations had not been about peaceful meetings or trade agreements. Every space telescope, every deep space probe, every secret military project had been designed around one simple idea. When the aliens came, they would probably not be friendly. "Commander Kim," he said, "send the activation signal." Kim Soo-young's hands paused over her controls. "Sir, are you sure? Once we activate the network, there's no going back. They'll know what we really are." "They already think they know what we are," Park Jin-ho replied. "Let's show them how wrong they are." Kim Soo-young pressed a series of buttons. Across the solar system, hidden facilities began to wake up. On the dark side of Earth's moon, massive shipyards that had been disguised as mining operations started opening their doors. Inside asteroid belts, weapons platforms that had pretended to be research stations powered up their energy cores. On Mars, underground factories that supposedly made farming equipment began producing something very different. The Catherian ship near Jupiter detected the energy signatures immediately. Admiral Veltharion stood on his bridge, watching his displays, with growing confusion. These readings made no sense. The humans were showing power levels that should have been impossible for such a primitive species. "Communications," Veltharion ordered. "Send another message to the human leaders. Tell them that resistance is pointless. We have conquered 300 worlds. Their small planet cannot stand against the might of the Empire." But before his communications officer could send the message, a new transmission came from Earth. Admiral Park Jin-ho's face appeared on the main screen of every Catherian ship in the system. He was sitting calmly in his command chair, and behind him, human officers worked at their stations with quiet efficiency. "Admiral Veltharion," Park Jin-ho said in a steady voice, "I am Admiral Park Jin-ho of the United Earth Defense Force. We have received your ultimatum, and we have prepared our response." Veltharion leaned forward in his chair. "Human, you do not understand the forces you face. The Catherian Empire rules 12 star systems. We have weapons that can crack planets in half. Your species has barely left its homeworld. Surrender now, and some of your people may be allowed to live as servants." Park Jin-ho smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. "We understand perfectly what we face. The question is whether you understand what you're facing." On Veltharion's tactical display, new contacts began appearing throughout the solar system. Ships were emerging from hidden bases, rising from planet surfaces, and simply materializing out of what had appeared to be empty space. Within minutes, the display showed over 200 human vessels, many of them as large as Catherian cruisers. "Impossible," Veltharion whispered. "Our intelligence showed no significant military presence in this system. Your intelligence was designed to see what we wanted you to see," Park Jin-ho replied. For 50 years, every human space mission has had two purposes, the public purpose and the real purpose. While we sent peaceful exploration ships to other planets, we also built the largest military force in this part of the galaxy. Captain Lee Minji stepped forward on the transmission. Sir, shall I show them the Inchin's hammer? Park Jin-ho nodded. Do it. On every Catherian display, one human ship suddenly accelerated to impossible speeds. The destroyer Inchin's hammer moved from Earth's orbit to Jupiter's orbit in less than 3 minutes, a journey that should have taken weeks even with advanced alien technology. It stopped directly in front of Admiral Veltharian's flagship and simply hung there in space. How? Veltharian demanded. What propulsion system allows such acceleration? That's our little secret, Park Jin-ho said. But I'll give you a hint. Humans have a talent for taking things apart and putting them back together in ways their original builders never imagined. We've had some very interesting alien artifacts to study over the years. The truth was something the Catherians would never have believed. 30 years ago, a damaged alien probe had crash-landed on Earth. Inside it, human scientists had found technology based on principles that human physics said were impossible. But humans had a unique approach to impossible things. They ignored the word impossible and figured out how to make them work anyway. Commander Kim Soo-young had spent 15 years reverse engineering alien gravity control systems. The result was ships that could accelerate at thousands of gravities without turning their crews into paste. Captain Lee Min-jae had led the team that weaponized alien energy manipulation technology, creating guns that could fire bolts of pure force across millions of kilometers. You have 12 hours to leave our solar system, Admiral Park Jin-ho announced. Take your ships and go back to your empire. Tell them that Earth is not interested in joining their collection of conquered worlds. Admiral Veltharian's face twisted with rage. You dare threaten us? We have conquered civilizations that were old when your species was learning to make fire. And we have spent 50 years preparing to fight civilizations exactly like yours, Park Jin-ho replied calmly. The only question now is whether you're smart enough to leave while you still can, or whether you're going to force us to demonstrate why that would be a very bad idea. The transmission ended. Throughout the human fleet, weapon systems came online with a sound like distant thunder. Admiral Park Jin-ho sat back in his command chair and waited to see what choice the aliens would make. In space near Jupiter, Admiral Veltharian stared at his tactical displays and realized that for the first time in his military career, he had no idea what he was facing. These humans were not like any species the Empire had ever encountered. They had been planning for this meeting for decades, and they clearly had technology that matched or exceeded anything in the Catherian arsenal. The question now was whether the Empire would be wise enough to retreat, or whether they would learn the hard way why humans had spent 50 years preparing for war among the stars. Admiral Veltharian made his choice 6 hours later. Instead of retreating, he ordered his fleet to attack. It was a decision that would change the course of galactic history, though not in the way he expected. The Catherian ships moved toward Earth in perfect formation, their weapons charging with energy that could level mountains. Veltharian had fought in dozens of battles across the galaxy. He had seen civilizations with advanced technology and powerful weapons, but they had all fallen to the Empire's superior numbers and centuries of military experience. Target their largest ships first, he commanded. Once we destroy their command vessels, the rest will surrender quickly. But as his fleet approached the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, something unexpected happened. The asteroids began to move. Captain Choi Dongwoo stood on the bridge of his ship, watching the alien fleet approach. His vessel was hidden inside an asteroid that had been carefully hollowed out and reinforced over 20 years of secret construction. The Gwangju's Wrath was not just a ship. It was humanity's first experiment in building something that could fight gods. All stations, this is Captain Choi, he announced over the ship's communication system. We are about to show the galaxy why humans should never be underestimated. Engineering, bring the core online. Deep in the heart of the Gwangju's Wrath, a small artificial black hole began to spin faster. The ship's engines didn't burn fuel like rocket engines or use fusion like most alien ships. Instead, they fed matter directly into a controlled black hole and used the resulting energy to bend space and time itself. The technology had been impossible until human scientists studied the crashed alien probe. Even then, it had taken 15 years of work and 3 destroyed research stations before they figured out how to keep a black hole stable inside a spaceship. The secret was not in containing the black hole, but in convincing it to behave according to human mathematics instead of alien physics. "Core is stable, Captain," reported Engineer Park Soo-jin from deep within the ship. "All systems are responding normally. We're ready to show these aliens what humans can do." Captain Choi Dong-woo smiled grimly. "Then let's wake up. The asteroid around his ship cracked apart like an eggshell. What emerged was a vessel 2 kilometers long, covered in weapons that glowed with barely contained energy. But the Gwangju's wrath was not alone. Throughout the asteroid belt, dozens of other asteroids broke apart to reveal hidden human ships. On his flagship, Admiral Veltharion watched his tactical display with growing alarm. Where moments before his sensors had shown only empty space and floating rocks, there were now 40 human warships of various sizes. Energy readings from these vessels were higher than anything in the Cytherian database. "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "we're detecting gravitational anomalies from the largest human ship. It appears to be generating its own gravity field." "That's impossible," Veltharion replied. "Gravity manipulation requires technology that took our empire 5,000 years to develop. Nevertheless, sir, the readings are clear. The humans have somehow weaponized gravitational forces." Commander Nam Yoonji watched the approaching Cytherian fleet from her position aboard the Soul's Shadow. Her ship was different from the others in the human fleet. While vessels like the Gwangju's Wrath were built for direct combat, her frigate was designed for something much more subtle. "All shadow ships, this is Commander Nam," she transmitted to the 11 other vessels in her squadron. "Begin phase. Shift operations. Show them that human ships don't have to obey alien rules about where they can and cannot go." The Soul's Shadow and its sister ships simply vanished from normal space. They didn't move faster than light or use any conventional form of travel. Instead, they shifted slightly into an alternate dimension where the normal rules of physics worked differently. From this parallel space, they could move through solid matter as if it were empty air. Dr. Yoon Haemi coordinated the entire battle from her research station orbiting Saturn. The Daegu's vision looked like a peaceful science vessel, but its true purpose was far more important. Dr. Yoon had spent 10 years developing a communication system based on quantum entanglement that allowed instant communication across any distance. "All human ships, this is battle control," she transmitted. "Enemy fleet is now within weapons range. Begin Operation Homecoming." The battle began with the humans doing something no species in galactic history had ever attempted. Instead of meeting the alien fleet head-on, they attacked from 11 different directions simultaneously, with perfect coordination across millions of kilometers of space. Captain Choi Dong-woo fired the Gwangju's Wrath's main weapon. It was not a laser or a missile, but a controlled gravitational pulse that reached out across space and simply crushed one of the Cytherian cruisers. The alien ship crumpled like paper, its advanced armor useless against forces that operated at the level of space-time itself. Commander Nam Yoonji's shadow ships materialized inside the Cytherian formation, appearing directly behind enemy vessels where their shields were weakest. The Soul's Shadow fired weapons that didn't exist in normal space, energy beams that bypassed armor and shields by striking their targets from a dimension where such defenses simply didn't exist. Captain Oh Seung-min commanded the carrier Ulsan's flight from a position near Earth's moon. His ship launched squadrons of fighters that moved like schools of fish through space, each one guided by artificial intelligence that could predict enemy movements before the aliens themselves knew what they were going to do. "Fighter Squadron, Alpha, target the command ship's communication arrays," he ordered. "Squadron Beta, focus on their weapon systems. Remember, we want to capture some of these ships intact. Intelligence wants to know how their technology works." Lieutenant Colonel Seo Ji-hoon led the first boarding action of the war. His marine dropships approached the damaged Cytherian vessels, using the same phase shift technology as the Shadow frigates. His soldiers could walk through enemy hull armor as if it were fog, appearing directly inside alien ships where the defenders least expected them. The battle lasted 17 minutes. When it ended, 3 Cytherian cruisers were destroyed, 2 more were captured, and the rest of Admiral Veltharian's fleet was retreating toward the edge of the solar system at maximum speed. On his damaged flagship, Veltharian stared at his tactical displays in shock. His fleet had been decisively defeated by an enemy that should have been primitive savages. The humans had weapons and technology that operated on principles the Empire's best scientists didn't understand. "Sir," his communication officer reported, "we're receiving another transmission from the human admiral." Admiral Park Jin-ho's face appeared on the main screen. He looked calm and professional, as if defeating an advanced alien fleet was something humans did every day. "Admiral Veltharian," he said, "I hope this demonstration has helped you understand the situation. Earth is not interested in joining your empire. We suggest you return to your territory and inform your leaders that humanity prefers to remain independent." "This is not over, human," Veltharian snarled. "The Empire has fleets that number in the thousands. We have weapons that can destroy entire star systems. You may have won this battle, but you cannot stand against our full might." Park Jin-ho's expression didn't change. "Admiral, you seem to be under the impression that what you just experienced was our full military capability. Let me correct that misunderstanding." On Veltharian's display, new contacts began appearing throughout the solar system. Ships emerged from hidden bases on every planet and moon. Space stations that had appeared to be simple research facilities revealed themselves as fortress ships. Even Earth's communication satellites turned out to be armed weapons platforms. Within an hour, Veltharian's sensors detected over 800 human military vessels. The force that had just defeated his fleet represented less than 5% of humanity's actual military strength. "You see, Admiral," Park Jin-ho continued, "humans have been preparing for this meeting for 50 years. We've built our entire space program around the assumption that when we met alien life, it would probably be hostile. Every human in space is a soldier, every human ship is a warship, every human station is a fortress." "But how?" Veltharian whispered. "How did you develop such technology in such a short time?" "We had excellent teachers," Park Jin-ho replied with a slight smile. "Your own people, actually. Various alien probes and crashed ships over the years. We're very good at reverse engineering things and making them work better than they originally did." The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Veltharian alone with the knowledge that his empire had just encountered something unprecedented in galactic history, a species that had been preparing for war since before they had achieved spaceflight, and had succeeded in building technology that surpassed their potential conquerors. As his damaged fleet limped toward the edge of the solar system, Veltharian began composing a message to the Empire. He had to warn them that humanity was not just another primitive species to be conquered. They were something far more dangerous, a young civilization with old wisdom and the technology to back up their defiance. The question now was whether the Empire would listen to his warning, or whether they would make the mistake of sending more ships to learn the same lesson he had just learned. The Catherian Empire had never experienced military defeat on such a scale. When Admiral Veltharian's damaged fleet returned with news of humanity's unexpected capabilities, Empress Kithara VII herself took command of the Empire's response. She was a tall, pale alien with silver eyes that had seen 3 centuries of conquest. No species had ever successfully resisted the Empire during her reign. "Gather 5 battle fleets," she commanded from her throne aboard the massive Imperial flagship Eternal Dominion. "This human infestation will be crushed before it can spread. No primitive species will be allowed to challenge the Empire's authority." But, while the Empress gathered her forces, humanity was already moving beyond Earth. Captain Kang Ji-yeon stood on the bridge of her exploration ship Jeju's Dawn as it emerged from a wormhole near a star system 300 light-years from Earth. Her ship was the first of 50 vessels tasked with establishing forward bases throughout the galaxy. "Navigation, confirm our position," she ordered her crew. "Science, begin scanning for suitable asteroid fields and uninhabited planets." Lieutenant Huang Minjae worked at the science station, his instruments detecting something unexpected. "Captain, we're picking up energy signatures from the outer system. It appears to be a Catherian supply depot." Captain Kang Ji-yeon studied the tactical display. The depot was lightly defended, probably considered safe in what the aliens thought was secure territory. "Communications. Contact Admiral Park. Inform him that we found our first target. The human strategy was unlike anything the Catherians had ever faced. Instead of waiting for the enemy to attack Earth again, humanity had decided to take the war directly to the Empire. Using their mastery of wormhole technology, human ships could appear anywhere in the galaxy within hours, striking targets that the aliens had never imagined could be threatened. Commander Baek Minho commanded the heavy cruiser Pohang's Thunder as it hunted Catherian supply convoys deep in Empire territory. His ship used advanced stealth technology that made it nearly invisible to alien sensors. The Thunder could remain hidden while moving at speeds that should have been impossible, appearing like a ghost to strike at merchant vessels before vanishing again. Target acquired, reported Tactical Officer Lee Seoyeon. Catherian convoy consisting of 6 cargo ships and 2 escort cruisers. They're carrying what appears to be military supplies to the Imperial fleet gathering point. Range? Commander Baek Minho asked. 12 million kilometers, sir. Well within weapons range for our new gravity cannons. Fire. The Pohang's Thunder unleashed weapons that operated on principles the Catherians didn't understand. Instead of energy beams or projectiles, the human ship fired controlled gravitational distortions that reached across space at the speed of light. The alien convoy didn't have time to raise shields or call for help. Within minutes, 6 cargo ships were crushed by artificial gravity fields and their escort cruisers were drifting powerless in space. Boarding parties, secure any useful intelligence, Commander Baek ordered. Destroy anything we can't take with us. Make sure the Empire knows that nowhere is safe anymore. The siege of Nethys Prime became the turning point of the war. The fortress world was considered the Empire's most secure military installation, protected by orbital defense platforms and a fleet of guardian ships. It had never been successfully attacked in the Empire's 300-year history. Admiral Lim Soyeon approached the system with a fleet of 60 human ships, using a 3-pronged attack strategy that would have been impossible for any other species. Her flagship Andong's Resolve was equipped with weapons that could alter local gravity, creating miniature black holes that consumed enemy installations like hungry mouths. All ships, begin Phase 1, she transmitted to her fleet. Engineering. Teams, prepare the dimensional anchor points. The human attack began not with weapons, but with science. Dr. Hong Woo-jin aboard the science vessel Gangnam's Insight had discovered something remarkable about human neural patterns. When humans concentrated during battle, their brainwaves somehow synchronized with quantum fields in a way that gave them an almost supernatural ability to predict enemy tactics. It wasn't magic or psychic powers. It was something much stranger, human intuition operating at a quantum level, allowing experienced commanders to know what their enemies were going to do before the aliens themselves had made the decision. Admiral, Dr. Hong reported, the quantum resonance patterns are stabilizing. Our tactical predictions should be accurate to within 97% for the next 4 hours. Admiral Lim Soyeon smiled. Then let's show these aliens what human intuition can do when backed up by superior technology. The first phase of the attack involved ships phasing in and out of normal space-time, appearing in locations where the Catherian defenders couldn't predict or counter them. Commander Nam Yunji's shadow frigates materialized inside the orbital defense grid, striking the fortress platforms from within their own defensive perimeter. But the real surprise came when Admiral Lim's flagship deployed its gravity manipulation weapons. The Andong's Resolve created a series of artificial black holes around Nethys Prime, not to destroy the planet, but to demonstrate humanity's ultimate power. The miniature black holes consumed 3 orbital defense stations and then simply vanished, controlled and dismissed with casual precision. Attention, defenders of Nethys Prime. Admiral Lim transmitted to the planet's surface. This is Admiral Lim Soyeon of the United Earth Defense Force. You have witnessed a small demonstration of our capabilities. Surrender now, and your people will be treated with respect. Continue fighting, and we will be forced to demonstrate why that would be unwise. The planet's commander, General Zenthor, was a veteran of 50 military campaigns. He had never surrendered to any enemy, but he had also never faced weapons that could create and control black holes with the same ease that his own forces fired conventional energy beams. "Human commander," he transmitted back. "The Empire will never surrender to primitive savages. We will fight to the last soldier before we yield to your species." "I was hoping you would say that," Admiral Lim replied. "It will make the rest of the galaxy pay attention to what happens here." The second phase of the attack began with something the Catherians had never seen before. Captain Yang Hoseok's battleship Jeonju's Vengeance moved into position above the planet's capital city and deployed a weapon that didn't destroy buildings. It made them simply cease to exist. The dimensional eraser beam reached down from orbit and selected the planet's military command center. The building didn't explode or collapse, it simply stopped being there, leaving behind a perfectly spherical hole in the ground that went down for several kilometers. "General Zenthor," Admiral Lim transmitted, "we can make your entire military infrastructure disappear without harming a single civilian. Surrender now, or we will demonstrate this technology on a larger scale." The siege of Nethys Prime lasted 6 hours. When it ended, the most secure fortress world in the Empire had fallen to human forces without a single civilian casualty. The Catherian military was captured intact, and their advanced weapons were added to humanity's growing arsenal of reverse-engineered alien technology. But the real victory was psychological. News of Nethys Prime's fall spread throughout the Empire, faster than light-speed communication. For the first time in 3 centuries, Catherian worlds began to question whether their empire was truly invincible. Captain Ryu Minjung led the assault carrier Daejeon's triumph in raids against Catherian shipyards, capturing entire fleets under construction. Lieutenant Park Donghyun's elite boarding parties seized alien research facilities, bringing human scientists new technology to study and improve upon. Within 3 months of the first battle at Earth, the Catherian Empire was in full retreat. Their supply lines had been severed, their fortress worlds captured, and their fleets scattered across the galaxy. Empress Kithara VII found herself commanding an empire that existed mostly on paper, with human forces striking at will throughout what had once been secure territory. "How is this possible?" she demanded from her council chambers. "They are a single species from a single world. We rule 12 star systems." Her military advisor, Admiral Vesquan, consulted his reports with shaking hands. "Your Majesty, our intelligence suggests that humans have been preparing for interstellar warfare since before they achieved spaceflight. Every human space mission for the past 50 years has had military applications. They have built the largest fleet in this part of the galaxy, and their technology surpasses our own in key areas. Then we will use the forbidden weapons," the Empress declared. "Activate the planet killers. If we cannot rule these humans, we will ensure that no one else can either." Admiral Vesquan hesitated. "Your Majesty, the planet killers have been sealed for good reason. They are weapons of absolute destruction. Once used, they cannot be controlled or recalled. Then the humans will learn why the Empire has ruled for 3 centuries. Empress Kithara VII replied coldly. "Send word to all fleet commanders. The gloves are coming off." But as the Empress prepared to escalate the war to levels of destruction the galaxy had not seen for millennia, human intelligence networks throughout the Empire detected the movement of the forbidden weapons. The forbidden weapons of the Catherian Empire had been sealed away for 2,000 years, hidden in secret vaults and guarded by ancient protocols. They were tools of absolute destruction, designed to crack planets apart and boil away entire atmospheres. Empress Kithara VII's decision to unleash them marked the moment when a war of conquest became a war of extinction. Captain Yang Hoseok received the intelligence report aboard his battleship Jeonju's Vengeance while patrolling the outer edges of former Empire territory. The massive human ship hung in space near a binary star system, its weapons powered down but ready to activate at a moment's notice. "Sir," reported Intelligence Officer Kim Yojin, "we're detecting massive energy signatures from the Catherian home system. Our long-range sensors suggest they're charging weapons that operate on a planetary scale." Captain Yang studied the tactical data with growing concern. The readings showed energy levels that could indeed destroy worlds. But he also knew that human scientists had been preparing for this possibility since the war began. "Contact Admiral Park," he ordered. "Inform him that the Empire has chosen escalation. Request permission to implement Operation Starfall." Back on Earth, Admiral Park Jin-ho read the message in his command center. For 50 years, human military planners had anticipated that any advanced alien civilization would eventually resort to world-killing weapons when faced with serious resistance. The response had been planned and prepared long before the first Cytherian ship arrived in the solar system. "Send the authorization codes to all fleet commanders," he ordered. "Operation Starfall is now active, and may God forgive us for what we're about to do." Operation Starfall was humanity's answer to planet killers, weapons that could induce stellar collapse, turning enemy star systems into cosmic graveyards. The technology was based on the same gravitational manipulation systems that powered human ships, but scaled up to a level that could affect the nuclear processes inside stars themselves. Dr. Moon Sun-hee had spent 15 years developing the theoretical framework for stellar engineering. Her research station orbited a small red dwarf star at the edge of human space, far from any inhabited worlds. The star served as her laboratory, where she tested techniques for manipulating fusion reactions at the stellar core level. "Admiral Park," she transmitted to Earth, "the stellar collapse device is ready for deployment. I must emphasize that once we use this weapon, there will be no way to hide our true capabilities from the rest of the galaxy. We will have announced ourselves as a species capable of destroying star systems." "Doctor," Admiral Park replied, "the Empire has already made the choice to use planet killers. We can either respond with equal force, or we can watch human worlds burn. Make your preparations." The first test of humanity's ultimate weapon came when a Cytherian planet killer ship approached the human colony world of New Sol. The massive, alien vessel was 3 times larger than any ship in the human fleet, its hull covered in weapons designed to strip away planetary atmospheres and crack continental plates. Fleet Admiral Song Ariam commanded the defense of New Sol from her flagship Changwon's Glory. Her ship was equipped with humanity's most advanced battle AI, a quantum computer that could process tactical information across 11 dimensions simultaneously. The AI could predict enemy movements with almost perfect accuracy, but even it was uncertain about humanity's chances against a weapon designed to kill worlds. "All ships, assume defensive positions around New Sol," Admiral Song transmitted to her fleet. "Civilian evacuation ships, you have 4 hours to clear the system. Military vessels, prepare for combat against a planet killer class enemy." But the evacuation never became necessary. As the Cytherian ship approached New Sol's outer defensive perimeter, Captain Yang Hoseok's battleship Jeonju's Vengeance materialized from hyperspace directly between the planet killer and its target. "Cytherian vessel," Captain Yang transmitted, "you are approaching a human colony world with weapons of mass destruction. Turn around immediately or face the consequences." The alien commander responded with contempt. "Human, your small ship cannot stand against the might of the Empire's ultimate weapon. Retreat now and we may allow your colony to surrender before we demonstrate our power." "I was hoping you would say that," Captain Yang replied calmly. "It will make what happens next much easier to justify." The Jeonju's Vengeance fired a single weapon, a focused gravitational beam that reached across space and struck the Cytherian planet killer's power core. But instead of destroying the enemy ship, the beam did something far more subtle and terrifying. It created a microscopic black hole inside the alien vessel's main reactor. The planet killer ship didn't explode. It simply collapsed in on itself, crushed by artificial gravity that compressed its entire mass into a point smaller than an atom. Where moments before there had been a 3-kilometer-long warship, there was now only empty space and a brief flash of radiation. "All Cytherian forces," Captain Yang transmitted on an open channel that could be heard throughout the galaxy. That was a demonstration of human stellar engineering technology. We can create black holes anywhere we choose, of any size we choose. Continue your attacks on human worlds, and we will demonstrate this technology on a larger scale. The threat was not empty. Within hours, human ships began appearing in Cytherian star systems carrying weapons that could affect the stars themselves. Dr. Moon Sun-hee's research had produced devices that could destabilize stellar fusion, causing stars to collapse into black holes or explode into supernovas at human command. The Battle of the Zirion Nebula became the largest space engagement in galactic history. Empress Kythera VII gathered the remaining strength of her empire. Over 5,000 ships from across 12 star systems, including every planet-killer weapon the Empire possessed. Fleet Admiral Song Aram met them with 3,000 human vessels in a battle that would be remembered for millennia. Her flagship Changwon's Glory coordinated attacks using battle AI that processed tactical information faster than organic minds could comprehend. All ships, execute Battle Plan Omega, she transmitted to her fleet. Show the galaxy what happens when you threaten human worlds with extinction weapons. The battle began with both sides unleashing weapons of unprecedented power. Kytherian planet killers fired beams that could boil away planetary atmospheres, while human ships responded with gravity weapons that created temporary black holes in space. The fabric of space-time itself rippled under the assault of forces that bordered on the godlike. Lieutenant Park Dong-yun led boarding parties equipped with power armor that allowed humans to fight in the vacuum of space as easily as on solid ground. His soldiers used weapons that fired bolts of pure energy, cutting through alien armor and shields as if they were made of paper. Commander Jo Yarim of the stealth carrier Suwon's Ghost executed the maneuver that ended the battle. Her ship phased partially into an alternate dimension, allowing it to occupy the same space as the Empress's flagship Eternal Dominion. When the Suwon's Ghost returned to normal space-time, both vessels occupied the same location simultaneously. Result was catastrophic for the alien ship and merely inconvenient for the human vessel. The Eternal Dominion was torn apart from within, as two masses tried to exist in the same place at the same time. The Suwon's Ghost suffered minor damage to its dimensional generators, but remained fully operational. Empress Kythera VII found herself, trapped in the wreckage of her flagship, watching her empire's greatest fleet being systematically destroyed by human forces that seemed to rewrite the laws of physics with casual ease. "Surrender," Admiral Song transmitted to the surviving Kytherian ships. "Your Empress is captured, your fleet is broken, and your planet-killer weapons are destroyed. The war is over." But some alien commanders chose to fight to the end rather than admit defeat. Captain Ryu Minjung of the assault carrier Daejeon's Triumph led the final assault on the remaining Kytherian resistance. Her Marines fought through the corridors of enemy ships, capturing advanced technology and taking prisoners, who would provide intelligence about the Empire's remaining forces. The Battle of Zarian Nebula lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Kytherian Empire ceased to exist as a military force. Of the 5,000 ships that had entered the battle, fewer than 200 survived to retreat into deep space. Empress Kythera VII sat in a human detention cell aboard Admiral Song's flagship, staring at the walls and trying to understand how her ancient empire had been destroyed by a species that had only achieved spaceflight 50 years ago. "How?" she asked when Admiral Song came to visit her. "We ruled for 3 centuries, we conquered hundreds of worlds. How did you defeat us so completely?" Admiral Song studied the alien ruler with calm eyes. "Your empire conquered worlds by being stronger than everyone else. But humanity spent 50 years preparing to fight someone stronger than us. We built our technology and our strategy around the assumption that we would be outnumbered and outgunned. But your weapons," the Empress protested. "Your ships do things that should be impossible. You manipulate gravity and space-time as if they were simple tools." "We had good teachers," Admiral Song replied. "Various alien probes and crashed ships over the years. But more than that, humans have a different approach to impossible things." 6 months after the Battle of Zarian Nebula, the galaxy was a very different place. The Kytherian Empire had crumbled completely, its scattered remnants hiding in the dark spaces between star systems. But humanity had done something unprecedented in galactic history. Instead of becoming conquerors themselves, they had chosen a different path. Captain Ryu Minjung stood on the bridge of her assault carrier Daejeon's Triumph as it approached the former Kytherian capital world. The planet's massive cities still showed the scars of the Empire's final desperate defense, but reconstruction was already underway. More importantly, the reconstruction was being led by the planet's own people, not by human occupiers. "Captain," reported Communications Officer Lee Ji-hyun, We're receiving landing clearance from the planetary government. They're requesting a meeting with our diplomatic team. Understood, Captain Ryu replied. Signal the diplomatic shuttle to prepare for departure, and remind Ambassador Li that she's making history down there. Ambassador Li Jiwan had spent her entire career preparing for this moment, though she had never imagined it would come under these circumstances. As the first human ambassador to the former capital of a conquered galactic empire, she faced the challenge of building something the galaxy had never seen, a truly cooperative interstellar government. The shuttle landed at the planetary capital's main spaceport, where representatives from dozens of former Empire worlds waited to meet her. These were species that had been enemies or subjects of the Catherians for centuries, and they were still learning to trust each other, much less the humans who had liberated them. Ambassador Li greeted former General Zenthor the Catherian, military commander who had surrendered Nethys Prime. We welcome you to what we hope will be the first meeting of the Galactic Cooperation Council. Ambassador Li smiled as she stepped off the shuttle. General, the fact that former enemies can meet as equals is proof that we're already succeeding. Humanity didn't fight the Empire to replace it with another empire. We fought to give everyone the freedom to choose their own future. The establishment of the Galactic Council represented a completely new approach to interstellar politics. Instead of conquest and domination, the human model was based on cooperation and mutual defense. Any species that wanted to join the Council was welcome, regardless of their past affiliations or technological level. The only requirement was a commitment to peaceful coexistence and mutual aid. Dr. Moon Sun-hee found herself in an unexpected role as director of the Technology Sharing Initiative. Her research station had become the galaxy's premier center for scientific cooperation, where human scientists worked alongside alien researchers to solve problems that no single species could tackle alone. The remarkable thing, she explained, to a gathering of scientists from 40 different worlds, is how much we can accomplish when we share knowledge instead of hoarding it. Humans developed stellar manipulation technology, but Catherian mathematics makes it far more precise. Ziridian energy field theory combined with human gravitational control opens up possibilities none of us imagined alone. The technology sharing initiative was controversial among some human military leaders who worried about giving away humanity's technological advantages. But Admiral Park Jin-ho supported it completely. A galaxy where everyone can defend themselves is safer for everyone, he argued in a meeting of Earth's Defense Council. We didn't fight the Empire to become the new Empire. We fought to make sure that no one species could ever dominate all the others again. Captain Shin Dongju commanded the exploration vessel Mokpo's Hope as it led joint human-alien expeditions to the unexplored regions beyond the galactic rim. His crew included scientists and explorers from a dozen different species, working together to map the dark spaces where ancient dangers might be lurking. Long-range sensors are detecting artificial structures in the void between galaxies, reported Science Officer Dr. Yoon Hamey from her position at the sensor station. The energy signatures are unlike anything in our databases. Captain Shin studied the readings with growing concern. How far away? Approximately 50,000 light-years and approaching slowly, Dr. Yoon replied. Based on current speed, whatever it is will reach the outer edge of our galaxy in approximately 100 years. The news was disturbing, but not immediately threatening. It gave the new Galactic Council time to prepare for whatever was coming, but it also served as a reminder that humanity's victory over the Empire was just the beginning of their journey among the stars. Admiral Kwan Taehyung led the Liberation Fleet to every former Catherian tributary world, offering them not just freedom, but partnership in building a better galaxy. His flagship Soul's Promise carried supplies, technology, and hope to worlds that had been oppressed for centuries. Citizens of Viridian III, he transmitted to the planet's surface, "This is Admiral Kwan of the United Earth Defense Force. We're here to offer you the choice your previous rulers never gave you, the chance to determine your own future. We ask nothing in return except your commitment to peaceful coexistence with your neighbors." The response from the planet's surface was overwhelming. After 300 years of tribute payments and forced labor under the Empire, the Viridians could barely believe that liberation came without a price. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy as human fleets reached every former Empire world with the same message: you are free to choose your own path. But not everyone welcomed the new order. Some former Empire officials attempted to maintain control over their territories, leading to brief conflicts that tested the resolve of the Galactic Council. Commander Bayek Minho's heavy cruiser, Pohang's Thunder, found itself hunting down rogue Catherian warlords who refused to accept that their empire was gone. Target identified, reported Tactical Officer Park Sujin. Former Admiral Zelvak's personal fleet, attempting to establish an independent kingdom in the Outer Rim territories. Signal them to surrender, Commander Bayek ordered. Remind them that the age of conquest is over. If they want to rule something, they can run for election like everyone else. The brief engagement that followed demonstrated why resistance to the new order was futile. The rogue Catherian fleet was equipped with old Empire technology, while the human ship carried weapons that had been continuously improved through the Technology Sharing Initiative. The battle lasted less than an hour, ending with the complete capture of the enemy force. Empress Catherus VII remained in human custody, but her treatment was far different from what she had expected. Instead of execution or torture, she found herself in comfortable quarters aboard a research station, where human and alien scientists studied the historical records of her empire. We need to understand how the empire maintained control for so long, explained Dr. Hong Wu-jin during one of their regular conversations. Not so we can copy your methods, but so we can help other species avoid falling into the same patterns. You are naive, the former empress told him. Your galactic council will collapse within a generation. Different species cannot cooperate for long. Sooner or later, the strong will dominate the weak. It is the natural order of things. Perhaps, Dr. Hong replied calmly. But humans have a saying. Just because something has always been done one way doesn't mean it's the right way. We prefer to create new natural orders. The success of the Galactic Council surprised even its human architects. Within 1 year of its establishment, over 200 species had joined, including many that had never been part of the Empire. Trade flourished, scientific advancement accelerated, and conflicts between member species were resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. Captain Oh Sung-min's carrier, Ulsan's flight, served as the flagship for the new Galactic Defense Force, a combined fleet with ships and crews from dozens of different worlds. The force was designed not for conquest but for protection, defending member worlds against the pirates, warlords, and other threats that emerged in the power vacuum left by the Empire's collapse. All ships, this is Captain O, he transmitted, to his mixed fleet of human, Catherian, Zeridian, and Viridian vessels. We've received a distress call from the Altarian system. Pirates are attacking civilian transport ships. All vessels, prepare for humanitarian intervention. The mission was successful, with the pirates scattered and the civilian ships safely escorted to their destination. But the real victory was in how the different species worked together, their crews learning to trust and rely on each other regardless of their biological differences. Grand Admiral Park Jin-ho, now the Supreme Commander of all human military forces, stood on the observation deck of humanity's new flagship Terra's Promise. The massive ship orbited Earth, serving as both a symbol of human strength and a headquarters for galactic cooperation. Admiral, reported Captain Lee Min-jae, now his chief of staff, we've received the latest reports from our deep space monitoring stations. The mysterious energy signatures from beyond the galactic rim have increased in intensity. Admiral Park studied the data with thoughtful eyes. Any change in their approach vector? No, sir. Still heading directly for our galaxy, still maintaining the same speed. But the energy readings suggest that whatever is coming is far larger than anything we've encountered before. Admiral Park nodded slowly. Then we have work to do.